Hi, I'm Peter, and I'm going to teach you one of my favorite pranks, the electronic bill snatcher. So here's the idea of the prank. You have a bill, it's laying on the ground, someone sees the bill. They want money, right? So they go to pick it up, and as soon as they reach for it, you press your button and snatch it away. I'm going to teach you how to build one of these electronic devices so you can do this prank. I needed to field test my device for you to make sure it actually works on strangers. So I took this out in public and tried it on some strangers. Check it out. Let's get into the build so you can build yours. Alright, so first things first, we need to design the spool that goes on the shaft of the electric motor that organizes and spools the thread when you use your bill snatcher. I'm in Fusion 360 here. It's a 3D CAD program you can design 3D objects with, but don't worry, I have the link to the STL file in the notes section, so you can use that to put into your 3D printer slicer and make a file so you can 3D print it. If you don't have a 3D printer, don't worry. Most public libraries do. A lot of schools do. I bet if you're in school, you can ask your teacher to use it for this project. I'm sure they would allow you and be excited to help you with it. I've made 3 planes here, one at 0, one at 5.5 millimeters, and one at 11 millimeters. So that'll be the bottom, top, and middle of our spooler. And then I've made circles, 2 larger ones on the end and a smaller diameter circle in the middle. And then we can start to extrude these and turn them into a solid body. Once you have the small extrusion in the middle, you can use the loft tool to create the shape. I'm going to do a couple of fillets here to make the angle a little more gradual so it's not such a sharp angle. And that's basically our finished shape there. We just have to add a hole through the middle for the shaft of the electric motor, and then a hole for the thread, which I'll show you. So I'm going to select a 2 millimeter circle there and create a cut through my extrusions, and that will make a hole go through the entire length of the spool. Then I'm going to make an offset plane off of that center hole. Then I'm going to make a small circle on that plane and cut it out of the extrusion of the shape. And that'll make a small hole just so we can thread the thread through and tie it into a knot so it doesn't come loose off of our spool. And that is it. We have finished the spool. I'm going to send it over to Cura. That's the slicer I use for my Ender 3D printer, and print. Depending on your 3D printer, your 2 millimeter hole in your spool might not be 2 millimeters. So I'm using a 2 millimeter drill bit with a hand drill here to widen my hole out so it'll fit on the shaft of my electric motor, and you want it nice and snug so it doesn't fall off. All right, we need some parts. We need the motor with the spool. We need a 9-volt battery. Need some electrical wire, some tape, could be electrical tape, and some of this foam board. That foam board I got from Michael's Craft Shop. We need to position the electric motor on the battery so the bottoms are even. So take some tape and tape the motor to the battery into one unit so the bottoms are even. Then we need some wire. Use some wire strippers to take the insulator off, and then thread the metal wire through one of the terminals on the electric motor and bend it around and tape it. The red wire is going to go to the positive terminal of the battery, so measure that out, cut it, and then strip off the insulator to expose the metal conductor. Then you're going to do the same with the black wire. Strip off the insulator, thread it through the other terminal of the electric motor, bend it, tape it, and then bend it around the 9-volt battery just like you did with the red wire. And so it's going past the negative terminal of the battery. Cut it, strip off the insulator, and then you can test it by pressing the wires against the battery terminals. Then I'm going to tape the wires right to the battery so they stay in place. I'm going to use the black wire as a switch to turn on the bill snatcher, so we're going to permanently tape the red wire to the positive terminal of the battery so it's constantly in contact with it. Then we're going to very loosely tape the black end so it doesn't stay connected to the terminal unless you press on it. I bet you're wondering what that foam piece is for. Well, it is going to act as a guide to our thread so the thread doesn't get tangled around the motor, so it will guide it onto the spool. Make it the length and width of the motor, and then put a small hole right into the center of the foam board, right lined up with the middle of the spool. It is time to attach the thread, so thread the thread through the hole you made in the foam, and then thread that end through the small hole in the spool that we printed, and then tie that off 3 or 4 times, and then trim off the small end so it doesn't get caught on anything. Then you're going to tape that foam piece right to the motor and the battery, put it on there nice and tight, and then you're going to measure out the length of thread that you want to use. In my case, I probably used about 15 feet, and then cut it at that point. Use some Scotch tape to attach it to your dollar bill. Then to carry it with you, make sure you spool all the thread onto the spooler so it doesn't get tangled on anything. And then it's time to test your creation. If you build this, and I hope you do, and if you try it on people, please record yourself and please share the video with me. I love watching prank videos and I would love to watch yours. I will see you in the next project.